Hello everybody, Golden Boy here, and I have a couple of questions for you. But because I'm recording this in my apartment and not in all of your homes, I guess I'll have to be the one to answer the question. So, question number 1. Do you think that Sanji will unlock Conqueror's Haki? Yes, I do. Question 2. Do I think that he's going to unlock it before the end of Wano? Again, yes I do. While some might not believe that Sanji has the will of kings in him, hear me out as I make the case that Sanji is indeed a conqueror. I can show you why not only do I think it's reasonable to believe that Sanji displays willpower that rivals Luffy's, but that his willpower is already directly tied to his Haki, and it's unbreakable. So, to begin to understand which characters can unlock Conqueror's Haki, let's briefly start with some context. Let's understand what Haki is. And who better to explain Haki to us fans than Luffy's Haki teacher himself, Silver Fox, or Silver's Rayleigh. Damn though, damn. In chapter 597, Rayleigh says, Haki is a power that lies dormant in all the world's creatures. Presence, fighting spirit, intimidation. It's not different from the things that humans can naturally sense, such as these. The act of not doubting, that is strength. So Haki is the spirit or willpower of all living creatures, and it usually comes in two main categories, armament and observation. There's a third type as well, conquerors, but what do we know about Conqueror's Haki? Conqueror's Haki is a rare form of Haki that allows the user to exert their own willpower over others. It's the ability to overwhelm, to hold such strong faith that you can overwhelm your opponent. In Rayleigh's words, this is the power to overwhelm, the color of the Supreme King. Most people who have made a name for themselves in this world possess this power. Although you can control the color of the Supreme King, you can't train it to be stronger directly. It is the embodiment of the spirit of the user. The only way to make it stronger is for the user to grow stronger. So our understanding of Conqueror's Haki from the story is that it's the projection of one's inner spirit, or the embodiment of one person's willpower, when it's so strong that it can overpower another person's will. And we have typically seen Conqueror's Haki in outbursts, specifically when one is pushed to the limit or put in a tough spot. For example, Luffy showcases his Conqueror's Haki at Ace's execution, when it appears that all hope is lost. He lets out a scream, and his inner spirit and will are projected outwardly, overcoming the executioners and many Marines. When pushed to the edge, Luffy's Haki bursts from its seams, which makes sense, as they say Haki blooms in the heat of battle. The turmoil for Luffy triggered a Conqueror's response. There are also advanced applications of Conqueror's Haki, where a king can apply a coat of Conqueror's Haki to their attacks and strike enemies without even making contact. But we're still learning more about that. Let's not focus on that today. So now that we understand Conqueror's Haki, how about we highlight some examples of good Conqueror's Haki users? And the best examples are those with strong power and even stronger conviction. For instance, take Roger, Luffy, Big Mom, Kaido, and the other top tiers. These people all have unwavering confidence in their will, and they're all quite strong. They're quite powerful both physically, but also internally. Not all conquerors or kings have to be the captains either. Take for instance Katakuri, Silver's Rayleigh, or even Ace. They didn't all unlock Conqueror's Haki because they wanted to be the king of the pirates. These are conquerors that served under captains, but they had their own spirits. Ace only used conquerors once, as far as we know, and it was like the example I gave earlier with Luffy at Marineford. When they were young, Ace was pushed to the edge, and he unlocked Conqueror's Haki to protect his little brother. His spirit would not allow him to lose, the act of not doubting. Ace was pressured into using Conqueror's Haki to protect those that he loved. Same sort of deal for Katakuri. For Brulee's sake, and for the sake of all of the siblings, he had to become ultra powerful, so he became a conqueror. a good candidate for Conqueror's Haki doesn't necessarily need to be the one gunning to rule the seas as the king. A conqueror is a powerful individual with an unwavering spirit. So up until this point in the video, I don't think I should have lost anybody. These haven't really been opinions, rather I've just been speaking about the elements in the story and compiling this information for you. We already know the canon definition of Haki because Rayleigh explained it for us. We know that not all conquerors in the story have to aim to be the very best in the world, rather they just have to follow Rayleigh's definition of powerful with willpower that is unwavering. There shouldn't really be any debate on things thus far. Where I think the Sanji Conquerors theory loses steam is at this point in the video, where I compile evidence for the Conquerors theory to explain my reasoning. I think Sanji does in fact meet this bar, while other readers just do not. But before I throw random pieces of evidence at you and call it foreshadowing, let me just make like a valid argument. People can mention manga panels all day long and call it foreshadowing, but at the end of the day, if Sanji cannot meet the definition that Rayleigh has left for us, he's shit out of luck. He's not a conqueror. So first, let's examine Sanji based on our working definition of a conqueror. He needs to be both A, physically strong, and B, unyielding in his willpower. If he meets both of these requirements, then Sanji can at least be considered for Conqueror's Haki. A, physically strong. I don't think we really need to spend too much time here on this one. Sanji is obviously strong. I won't try to power scale him, I won't say that he can beat Zoro in a 1v1 or anything like that, but I will say that Sanji is Luffy's left-hand man. He's the third member of the Monster Trio. As Marco described during the raid, he had done his part, and now it's time for the real stars to take the stage, Zoro and Sanji. The Straw Hat first and second commanders. This was Marco tipping his cap, telling the young guns that it's their era now. Sanji's currently fighting a Yonko's second commander. He's doing very well, all things considered. I have full faith in Zoro, but Zoro's fight is seemingly not going as well as Sanji's fight. Post Wano, I think it's extremely safe to say that both Zoro and Sanji will have 1 billion bounties on their head, and they're going to be renowned across the sea as Yonko commanders. They're the wings of the future Pirate King. They're monsters. Yes, Sanji is strong. And if anyone doesn't think Sanji's going to be considered powerful across the seas after Wano, and then you're going to just have to 1v1 Randy Troy in the gulag or something, because I don't know what else to tell you. Sanji's strong. So, we've established that Sanji's strong, point A. But how about point B? Does Sanji have conviction? Is his spirit strong enough? Is his willpower unyielding and overwhelming? B. I think that Sanji's willpower isn't just strong. I think that his willpower rivals Luffy's and Zoro's. Now don't get me wrong, Luffy and Zoro, their ambitions to be the strongest are stronger than Sanji's dream to find the All Blue. That's undebatable. Sanji's willpower is strong, but it's not stronger than Luffy's Pirate King spirit and Zoro's dream to be the greatest swordsman, right? Well, it depends on how you look at it. Because throughout One Piece, there are many mysteries and many changes. But the one thing that we can bet everything on is Sanji. Sanji does not hit women, period. It is tied into his very being. It is his spirit. It controls him. What many label as a detriment, Sanji's uselessness when it comes to fighting female opponents is exactly where his willpower shines. Sanji is very principled, he's a chivalrous character, and he cannot hit women for the life of him. Literally. We've seen him get wiped by Caulifla. He will die before he strikes a woman, and that's something Oda makes clear to us. Even in chapter 1034, it's revealed that as he's losing his sense of humanity, transforming, he still doesn't lay a finger on the geisha. Okay, great, so Sanji's an ultra simp. So what, that doesn't prove that he's a conqueror. He won't hit women. How does that equate to being a conqueror? Well, People point out that he's not a conqueror in the same sense that Zoro is. But Haki's supposed to be a manifestation of your willpower, right? Then name a willpower in One Piece that's stronger than Sanji's will to protect the women. In my opinion, you can't. Zoro put his dream of being the world's greatest swordsman on hold once versus Kuma to protect Luffy. His will to achieve his dream was overshadowed by the need to protect his captain. Just like Ace, Zoro needed to protect his Nakama. And you can't say that because Sanji's dream isn't related to being the strongest, that he can't be a conqueror. Zoro's able to put his dream to the side to protect those that he loves. So does Ace. So does Katakuri. Even Luffy has doubted in his ability to become the Pirate King. In Whole Cake Island, he tells Sanji that he's going to wait for him to return to the crew because it's pointless to continue on this journey. He said he will never be able to achieve his dream without Sanji. So Zoro and Luffy have both been able to sideline their dreams on one occasion. But Sanji has never sidelined his chivalry towards women. If those two conquerors are able to briefly suspend their will but still be conquerors, Sanji's undying will to protect women is certainly strong enough to warrant Conqueror's Haki, in my opinion. You don't get Conqueror's Haki for wanting to be the best. You get Conqueror's Haki for being strong-willed. That's what Rayleigh told us. And Sanji's will is undying. In fact, it's undead. As a zombie in Thriller Bark, his penguin zombie form directly defied Moria. He wouldn't hit Nami. I don't even know how he did that. He countered Moria's devil fruit. His willpower goes further than just his ideals. It's ingrained into his very spirit. But for me, the most convincing moment for Sanji's will happened during the raid on Onigashima. This is when I really started to think that he might unlock Conqueror's Haki. When facing Black Maria, Sanji was captured and he was tortured. He easily defeated all of the men in the room before Black Maria tied him up and began torturing him. She was beating him with iron knuckles, and he didn't fight back. But more than that, he didn't even block. Despite wanting to block her attacks, Sanji couldn't activate his armament Haki. He thought this to himself. He didn't want to call Robin to rescue him, but he knew that he would die because he was physically unable to activate his armament defense. Because there was a chance that it would hurt Black Maria's knuckles as she punched him, Sanji's Haki wouldn't work. Like, he wanted to turn it on. He was trying to turn it on, but he was physically unable to tolerate inflicting pain on women. Name a will stronger than that. Sanji's will is so strong that it's a detriment to him. It's so strong that he wishes he could be weaker so he could turn on his armament Haki to protect himself. It cannot be helped. His willpower, his undying spirit follows him to the grave, whether he likes it or not. Sanji's will is undying enough to warrant Conqueror's Haki. So, we can now see that Sanji meets both requirements to have Conqueror's Haki. He is indeed powerful, and his willpower is even greater than that. But that doesn't mean that he's just going to automatically get Conqueror's Haki. The only thing I've proven is that Sanji is able to potentially awaken the ability. So here's why I think that he's going to awaken it. In order to awaken Conquerors, you're going to need to have a trigger. You need your will to overwhelm someone else's. You need to change the minds of your enemies. And again, I think Sanji has done a better job than Zoro in this department. Sanji has converted the enemy on multiple occasions. To name a few fast examples, the Navy soldiers on Punk Hazard followed his command instead of arresting him. Pudding changed her mind during Whole Cake Island when she went from assassin to wifey. And he even got his father Judge to literally drop to his knees and help Sanji and his crew. Despite being emotionless monsters, Sanji moved the germa to do his will. So Sanji has precedence to exert his will over others. I think, narratively, Sanji's gonna get Conqueror's Haki too. He's one of the wings of the Pirate King, and Oda has always played into the Zoro-Sanji dynamic. He's continued to do so here during the raid. It doesn't make much sense to me to have the Pirate King's crew be made of a monster trio, with only 2 of the 3 that can use Conqueror's Haki. Oda's made it painfully obvious that Zoro's not gonna dust Sanji. Sanji's gonna stay relevant in the Monster Trio just like he always has. Oh, and if all of that wasn't enough, One Piece Volume 100 features Ace, Yamato, Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji. And its title? Conquerors Haki. That would be awkward if they all had Conquerors Haki except for Sanji. So disclaimer, I'm not saying that Sanji's going to have the same mastery of Conquerors as Zoro or Luffy. However, I am saying that I can see Sanji unlocking his Conquerors Haki in the heat of battle. As we know, that's when Haki blooms. To be honest, I think the only thing he's missing is a traumatic trigger. So let's put on our tinfoil. Let's think about what that trigger might be. Tinfoil hat idea. Sanji appears to be doing pretty well in his queen fight, knock on wood. After their respective fights, I expect Zoro and Luffy to be gassed, but Sanji's looking alright still. So with an elite force like CP0 here to kidnap Robin, I think it's time for Sanji to repay the favor. What if Sanji saved Robin from CP0 just like when she saved him from Black Maria? Ironically, on Zoe, when Robin was warned that other people would seek after her, her response was that she has strong friends that can protect her now. I believe that Sanji was the only Straw Hat that wasn't in attendance when she said this too, so that it'd be extra ironic. And I could totally see a situation where Brook is defeated and Robin is captured by CP0, but before they go anywhere, a sudden emotional burst flies forth. It's Sanji. He's fired up. Nobody lays a finger on Nico Robin. It's Conquerors Haki. That could be a situation that could trigger it. A second tinfoil hat idea is that there are things that exist in One Piece that just aren't explained yet. One recent example was Ashura. How can Zoro grow extra arms and heads to wield 9 swords? That's kind of weird, right? So we went along for years just believing that Zoro could do that just because. And now we find out it's actually an application of Conqueror's Haki. Well, when asked about Diablo Jambe and how Sanji can do it, what was Oda's response? He sort of dodged the question, and then he said, "It's the flame of Sanji's heart. His passion is what truly burns bright." Heart and passion are reminiscent of spirit and willpower of a conqueror. And, perhaps just like with Ashura, Diablo Jambe can be explained with Haki. I think now that we're getting to the end of the series and Oda's expanding more on Haki, we're going to get some more answers, some more mysteries solved. So this could also be an example of Haki. The Raid Suit and Enma were both shiny new upgrades, and they helped unlock some latent abilities, but they came at a price. Both Zoro and Sanji had to struggle mentally. In Zoro's fight with King, he has never faced a tougher mental challenge, as Enma's making him question himself, ultimately strengthening his resolve. Zoro steps up to the plate. He unlocks Conquerors. Sanji was down bad. He thought he hit a woman, but he's doubled down, and Sanji's accepting who he is, pushing past his family's influence. He destroyed that damn raid suit. He's gonna do this his own way. I think that Zoro and Sanji are both pushing past their limits in Wano. They're coming out as top tiers with Conquerors Haki. Plus, with the wings of the Pirate King, Oda is using this arc to help us realize that this isn't a Yonko crew. This is the King's crew. Zoro and Sanji both are becoming the very strongest so they can support their captain, the Pirate King. So I think I've done a good job dispelling any counter arguments along the way, but some doubters might still say, well, Sanji doesn't have the leadership. Zoro's been mistaken for the captain before. Sanji doesn't have leadership or drive. And my response would be, 1, Sanji has leadership, and Sanji's acted as captain before, standing up to Luffy and even leading the Thousand Sunny as the captain to Zoe. And he's less likely to follow the crowd just blindly. He uses his leadership when he goes on his stealth missions. He's the White Knight. He makes a difference in these solo stealth missions. And also, 2, leadership doesn't even matter. It doesn't. Sanji fits Rayleigh's definition of a conqueror, and I think that his will can overcome enemies in the right context. So now that I've gone through my case, let's just briefly recap here. So number 1, Rayleigh tells us that Haki is the embodiment of willpower and inner spirit. The act of not doubting is strength. 2, Conqueror's Haki is a step above that, typically acquired by the powerful that have made a name for themselves. It's when they exert their will over others and they overwhelm. 3, Sanji is eligible for Conqueror's Haki because he's strong, he's going to be a top tier name after Wano, and he has a will that is undying, as his zombie refused to follow Moria's orders to hit a woman. His will is unmoving, because even when he's faced with death at the hands of Black Maria, he wants to activate his armaments. His Haki will not activate, despite his deeds. His will would rather let him die than activate Haki and risk hurting Black Maria's knuckles. Sanji's willpower is exceptionally powerful. 4, in order to properly raise the Pirate King, the 2 wings will be powerful. I think Sanji's going to get Conqueror's Haki, and he's going to keep the monster trio relevant. It has nothing to do with your dream. It doesn't matter if you're a leader. We've had people like Ace and Katakuri unlock Conqueror's Haki purely based on willpower and a traumatic trigger. So I think Sanji's going to be the next Conqueror as well. And if you like my theory, please like and subscribe. I'm always down to post more theory videos. I have a lot of fun with my channel, so please give me some suggestions in the comments. And if you give me a good idea, I might just do it and I'll shout you out too. So I'll see you next time, and remember, stay golden. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.